Hey everybody, Jesse with BRSFresh talking about the new 2-gallon Pico Smart Tank from Maxspect. This thing is super cool. A lot of technology, can go just about anywhere in your house, your office, etc. We'll get to that in a little bit, and we'll get to the technology. The first thing we're going to do is a little walk around. Take a look at this thing. So this guy is nice and light. As you can see here, left and right size. Small, perfect size, again, for a variety of different places. Let's take a look inside. You've got your filter pad right here on the right. Easy to pull out, wash, replace. Right here in the middle, you've got a couple little bags, okay? So the first one's going to be your activated carbon. You've got another little bag in there, which is going to be your ceramic spheres. This is your filter media. You can zip this open, replace it, shove it back in there, put the sponge back on top. Easy to replace, easy to change out. And then right here on this side, you remove that sponge. You'll find the heater. That's sitting right here, and you can just drop the sponge back in here to cover that up as well. You've got your high water line. You don't want to exceed that. Then you've got your water intake and your LED light up here. Now right here, you're just going to remove this little blue tape. And this little piece right here is removed for feeding. So that's nice and easy, so you don't have to flip the top open. By the way, when you flip the top open, the light automatically turns off, which is a cool feature. And then right up here on the top, you'll also have this cover. You can remove that as well. And now, before we plug this in, what we're going to do is we're going to put our substrate in there, we'll put our hardscape in there, we'll actually fill it with water, and then we'll plug it in. The reason we're going to do that is once you plug it in, the pumps will start running. So you want to make sure you have water in there first. So let's do that. So for this one, I've chosen our Carib Sea Sunset Gold Sand. I love the color of this, especially love the color of this with our Seriosone, which I'm going to add once we get the sand in. Okay, so I've added that Sunset Gold from Carib Sea, and now, like I said, I love our Seriosone, especially with the black backdrop. Just looks super cool in this environment. And so I'm just going to add a couple of these in here, and I'm actually right now, I'm just messing around to see sort of what fits. These are a few of our smaller Seriosones. I think you can see in this 2-gallon tank that I've probably already maxed out. I think a couple stones like that is a great look and really complements the black and the Carib Sea Sunset Gold. Okay, once we have our substrate in and our hardscape, we can add our conditioned water. And the way you're going to want to do that is actually by pouring in right here into the back of the tank, nice and slow, and just fill that up. And then you'll see that it's just going to start letting the water out into the tank. Otherwise, if you were to pour it in right from the top, of course, you're going to blow out a lot of your substrate and your hardscape. So this is the best way to do it. One thing to note as you fill this up, we just want to fill this right to that max water line. All right, once we have it filled up, now it's time to plug it in. That just plugs in right here in the back. You'll hear the pump fire up very softly for just a moment. And then you're going to see the logo blinking here in white. That lets you know the system's actually not on yet. And then you'll see this Wi-Fi signal blinking quickly, which means it's searching for a signal. So the next thing we're going to do is we're going to turn the system on. And you do that by holding this power button down for 5 seconds. Okay, you'll start to see some movement in the water. That just means the pumps have fired up and you can't hear anything, which is a really beautiful part of the Pico tank. Okay, once we have it filled with water, we're going to put it in the position to connect to Wi-Fi. We actually want to do that before we get the app. So to do that, we're going to hold down the power button and the light button simultaneously for about 2 seconds. Hear that beep? That lets you know that it's ready to receive a Wi-Fi signal, because once you get the app, it's going to expect to look for a Wi-Fi signal. So we actually want to do that first. Now let's get the app. And to do that, you can just grab page 4 of the manual, and you can use one of these QR codes to scan and download the app from the App Store. All right, so from the App Store, this is the app that you're going to want to get. It's the one that says Cloud. Once you download it, open it up. You can just go ahead and scroll down here to the bottom and then click Accept. It's going to ask you about location. You do want to at least say allow while using the app. Otherwise, you'll have trouble connecting to Wi-Fi without that location service turned on. Okay, then you're going to land on this screen. The first thing you're going to want to do is press register here, and it's going to ask you to put in a username and a password. Okay, once you're signed into the app, it's going to ask you to add a device or register a device. Go ahead and click on that, and then you'll probably see a little list that looks like this. Just go ahead and come down here and click on the Pico tank, and then click Next. Okay, it's going to ask you if you have set this up to receive a Wi-Fi signal, which we already did. Okay, then it's going to let you know that a device is found, and you can go ahead and click on that. And then it might ask you to sign into your Wi-Fi one more time. Just to put in your password, just click right here. Okay, once you have your Wi-Fi password in there, go ahead and click next, and the connection process will begin. Okay, now let's take a little walk around the app. Right here, you'll see your temperature, and it'll let you know if it's too low. As you can see, it is here because we just filled it up. You also have a power control right here, so you can turn the power of the whole system on and off right here. Then you have your light controls. If you click here, it's going to show up with nature mode first. This is just going to be your basic freshwater need. And then if you come over here, you have enhanced mode. This is going to show you hyper red light, really good for stimulating plant growth. You can come over here to custom mode. This is your third option where you can control some of the red and the blue colors and green as well. And then it cycles through over here back to nature mode. If you want to change your start time or your stop time down to the minute, you can do that by just clicking on either one of these timestamps up here. And then down here, you'll see that you've got the night light option. It's going to default to on, which means that when you turn this main light off, a tiny little blue light will still stay on for night light. But if you don't want that to be the case, you can just turn it off. When this light turns off, everything turns off. And then you also have this automatic light off mode here, which I recommend staying on. And that just means that when you flip the lid up, you're not going to get blinded by the LED light. It will automatically turn it off. So you can decide whether or not you want that to operate by just using that button right there. And then the third option here is the pump. So if you click right here, you have a couple things that you can do. You can change the speed of the circulation by just clicking right here. You can have speed 1, 2, or 3. It defaults to speed 2. You might want to have more or less circulation depending on the fish that you're keeping. Once you like your setup there, you can click confirm. And then you also have night mode, which defaults to off. But when night mode is on, the pumps will work on the minimum speed. So if you have them on speed 2 or 3 and you turn this on, at night, the pumps will reduce down to speed 1, and then when you turn it back on, they'll come back to the setting that you had. Okay, lastly here on the home screen, you have a quick on and off of Wi-Fi, child safety. You can click the light on and off quickly this way as well. You also can access the pumps that we just talked about by clicking on that quick link. And then you can access the heater right here. And that's the last thing that we haven't talked about yet. When you open this up, it's going to default to smart mode. You're going to want to stay there because that's going to operate this tank as is outlined on page 4 of the manual, where it talks about the various parameters that it's going to keep the temperature within. And then down here for your probe selection, you do have a higher probe A or that lower probe B that we talked about. You can just select which one you want to have be your main probe versus your secondary probe. And once you have that set, you're all set and ready to go. And you can see the temperature has already started to climb as the heater is fired up. All right, that concludes the setup of the Maxspect Pico Smart Freshwater Aquarium. I love this thing. There are so many different places you can put this in your house. The versatility is exactly what I love about this. You could have this in your living room. You could enhance your kitchen with something like this. You could have it in an office. There's so many different options you have with a tank like this. And the fact that you can control it with the tech on the top or the tech in your phone really brings this to a completely different level than what we're seeing out there in freshwater today. So we hope you enjoy yours, and we look forward to seeing you again soon.